Hello, it's me again. A week has passed. Um, this video is gonna be more so about some different concepts as it is that I'm giving an update about what's going on with my healing process with multiple sclerosis. Though I am getting better with my multiple sclerosis, I wanted to talk about some various topics, and I'll be looking at my iPad from time to time. So if my head or my eyes go away from the video screen or whatnot, it's because I'm reading the notes that I wrote so that I don't forget what I need to talk about. Over the course of last week, my eyesight got worse for a couple of hours or so, and it made me think about a concept that was introduced to me a while back called the healing crisis. And basically, the healing crisis is just, if you're not familiar with it, it's when the body is healing itself in a reverse state. And I'm going to read the definition verbatim as it pertains to the healing crisis. A healing crisis or healing reaction is a temporary worsening of the symptoms that occurs when the body is going through the process of healing itself through the elimination of toxins. It occurs when the body retraces old injuries, wounds, infections, and other imbalances from its past. So basically, what was going on, I think, was that my body was actually healing itself, but it was having to go through a reverse process in its process. And I also venture to say that the mucus that I talk about on each of these videos, it's also draining. And so I think that some of the mucus was draining down, and it was coming over my eyes or whatnot. I remember in 2013, before things really got bad, I had an eye appointment, and they thought in the eye exam or the X-ray that I had some traumatic injury that was occurring or had occurred in my retina. And so they wanted me to see a retinal specialist. And he asked me questions and did some various tests. And at the end of the test, because I didn't recall ever having a traumatic injury to my eye, he couldn't put it together. Well, what was happening was that it probably was excessive mucus that was showing up in the X-ray, which was looking as scars or things of that nature. But now that I have gone through a process of my eyesight getting really bad, in which I had to lie down for a couple of hours before I was able to regain my sight the way that it was prior to this episode. And so I think, based off of what I have learned and what I have researched and what I have read, I was going through a healing crisis with my MS, with my multiple sclerosis. The next thing that I want to talk about is the word disease. The word disease, if you break it down, it's a dis-ease of the body. So the body is unease. It's not in a healthy ease state. And so disease, put it together, happens or forms. And so the question is, well, how do I get out of a disease state? Well, in my opinion, it's kind of simple. In order for you to be at a ease state, or out of a dis-ease state, you have to do things that'll cause you to be in a healthier ease state. And I talk a lot about minerals because our bodies run off of minerals, just like plants run off of minerals. They are just an example or a small microcosm, if that's the word to use, of what we are. And if you don't believe me, then look at this example. We need oxygen to breathe, but the byproduct of us exhaling the oxygen that is breathed in is carbon dioxide. Well, carbon dioxide for us is waste, but the plants, it's actually needed. They thrive off of things like that to live. And so with one, it is waste, while the other one, it is something that is needed for them to stay healthy and to live. And I've talked about other examples of minerals that our bodies need, like iron for our blood. If a person lacks iron, then they are anemic. Carbon, copper, those two elements or those two minerals are what our brain needs, as well as iron. You got sodium, which is needed for nerve conduction and nerve electricity. You have calcium, which we know is needed for our bones, but it's also needed for muscle contraction. And if you lack calcium in your muscles, because your muscles thrive and run off of calcium, in order for you to contract your muscles, it needs calcium. In order for you to relax from that contraction, it needs calcium. So they thrive off of that as well. The sodium-potassium pump, potassium and sodium, is needed for electrical conduction with our nerves. Phosphorus, psyllium. These are just some minerals and some examples of the minerals that our bodies thrive off of. Our bodies need 102 minerals to actually be in a ease state. And when we are lacking those minerals, then we put ourselves in a position to be in a dis-ease state. So, the next thing that I want to talk about is a book that an author by the name of Eric Berg wrote that talks about the 4 different body types that people have. And these 4 body types are basically not like the mesophase and the ectophase and the endophase that we are accustomed to knowing. But he talks about 4 other body types that actually hold inflammation in various body parts. And they are the thyroid, the estrogen, liver, and adrenal. Now, the thyroid body type is a person that holds inflammation all over. The liver body type is a pot-bellied person. Those individuals are the guys, the beer gut guys. They have inflammation or liquid that's seeping out in between the stomach and the liver. And that's where they hold their inflammation or fat. The estrogen body type is the saddlebags. Those are women who have thick thighs and cellulite around that area, in the hips and in the lower extremity. Basically, that usually comes from having kids or things of that nature. And then, which one that I want to talk about is the adrenal body type. Now, he talks about how the adrenal body type, their conclusion of being an adrenal body type is autoimmune diseases.